Hey folks, welcome back to the next episode of Me and MS. My name is Michael Drohan. This is my story of living with MS. Thanks so much for tuning in so far and all the feedback and thoughts you've had on the videos. They've been fun to make and cathartic and I hope I'm helping you guys learn something not only about me but the disease, and hoping to help out anyone else with MS and questions and all that. This week, before we start, I just kind of want to reiterate that this is my journey. MS takes a different path for everyone, and although we have a lot of commonalities and similarities with progression and symptoms and all that, this is all ultimately just how it went for me. So don't take it as prescription that this is how it's going to go for you if you are newly diagnosed or someone you know is newly diagnosed. But it's this is my story. Also, this includes my experience and feedback with the drugs I was on, and am on, and all of that. Everyone has different experiences. Also, like the timing and sequence of my storytelling may be a little off. I mean, I was living it. I wasn't necessarily writing everything down. These my story kind of volumes are an overview, and I definitely plan to go into further detail of different topics as we go along in further videos. There's a lot to unpack here, so stay tuned. But yeah, picking up where we left off the last time of just getting out of college and deciding to go off of medication after 5 years of successfully being on it. I don't know. I misread that no symptoms is good to just keep the course, and I decided to go off it because I was tired of driving around and finding a nurse to give me the shot. But so I was off it for about 6 months, and I had no new attacks or symptoms. But really, at the 6-month mark, I noticed my walking ability, how long I was able to walk, how far I was really starting to be affected. After about a mile, I need to sit down to recharge my batteries. My legs just kind of start feeling weak, and my feet might be scuffing a bit. So, after a mile or so, I'd sit down for just a couple of minutes, recharge, and was able to keep going. But I also began to feel a lot more heat sensitivity, especially from humidity. Just really weighs you down. I went on a trip to Costa Rica around this time, and just remembered just how overwhelming the humidity was, and it really just slowed me down, slowed my ability, my balance, and all of that down. I describe my symptoms as think about how you feel in the heat, and after walking a long distance, and in the heat, and especially drinking in the heat, of just you're really, if we're being honest, drinking in the heat is not a great fun. You're gonna feel exhausted and all that. But take how you feel then and multiply it by 10, and that's kind of me. Like, I literally shut down. Like, I cannot move anymore if my body's too hot. But anyways, because of all this, I figured it was probably a good time to return to medication. I went back on Avonex, finding weekly nurse appointments around town again. But eventually, while talking with some friends, they felt confident enough to help me out with the shots, and came over. We had a weekly Sunday afternoon time for them to come over and give me my shots. So that was really a big help. Shout out to Rachel and Adam. You guys really came through in the clutch. I really appreciate it. A lot of time and cost saver. So really means a lot. But also around this time was discussion that pills were right around the corner. The first pill was Gilenya that was being introduced to market. So this was around 2012, and I talked to my doctor about it pretty quickly once it was out, and there was more patient data, and he felt comfortable prescribing it to me. So I went on this, jumped into it ecstatically, no more shots. And my time on it was fine. I didn't have any bad reactions. I tolerated the medicine well, but and looking back at it, I probably should have given it more credit than I did. because my walking ability was still slowly declining, and I definitely started to feel, just more sensitivity to heat and everything. I've described my ability, this is when I'm talking about jumping around, but it's basically since I've been diagnosed and I started having the walking ability, it's been on a slow decline for the 18 years since of the walking and all that. So another new med to the scene that I started taking around this time was Ampyra. Dalfampridine is the generic, and this was a lifesaver too. This wasn't a what you call it, DMT, disease modifying therapy, the kind that targets MS and slows down progression. But this Ampyra was made to especially help with walking ability. Basically, how it was described to me was it helps your nerves talk to each other better, and really get that electric flow going. So this really helped with my walking. You take it twice a day, every 12 hours is recommended. I've been able to push it to 10 hours without feeling any side effects. The big side effects that I've never experienced, because like I said, I pushed it over time. They say seizures may happen, but yeah, I've been lucky to not have that. But since I pushed it to 10 hours, and I might start to feel a little heavy in the head and that sort of thing. So I've stopped pushing it at 10 hours. But yeah, I do truly believe Ampyra kept me moving better and upright and with more without mobility aids for longer. I actually even still take it even though I'm not walking regularly. I feel it keeps me centered and just moving better and operating better in my life. So that's been a definite help to the DMTs I've been on. So aside from the drugs, speaking socially, during this time I still kind of held my diagnosis close to my chest. I was open about it to folks who asked. I didn't kind of lead with it. I'd be interviewing for jobs, going on a lot of dates. This was not something I could still, at this point, it was still hidden. I wasn't walking with a obvious limp, or definitely wasn't using mobility aids yet. It didn't, really, unless the heat or something affected me, I didn't kind of lead with it of, oh, hey, I'm Michael Drohan, I have MS. Like I said, it would be something that eventually, when I felt it was time and comfortable, and once I was appreciated for myself and everything else I offered, I would just let someone know who I trusted that I had MS or my job. And that's, kind of how it goes, especially at first. And that's totally fine to not lead with it. It's not something I was never ashamed of having MS. It was not something I did. But it was just something I didn't feel I needed to be judged on at that point, or still don't feel I need to be judged on it, but something I needed to have leading my introduction to people. So I kind of kept it closer. With all this, I was still on a slow decline in my ability. Talking with my neurologist, there was another new pill that was just on the scene that was getting a lot of good buzz. I don't know if it was marketing or legit data, but called Tecfidera. So talking to my neurologist, he was all on it, and thought it would be if I wanted to switch and wanted to try something new, because I felt I was still declining and not super stable. We switched to Tecfidera, but this decision, kind of similar to the last decision I made to go off something where I misread my going well, it turned out to not be a great one, and that led into the next sort of chapter here. So stay tuned.